A Bond Reclaimed is the title of the story. In a small town of Quarry, which lies between rolling hills and a serene river, lived two families whose lives will become entwined in the most tragic way. It all began on a stormy night in June, 20 years ago. The local hospital, understaffed and overwhelmed by the weather, welcomed two new lives into the world. Gracie Kingston, a beloved kindergarten teacher, and Evelyn Thomas, the wife of a traveling businessman, both gave birth to baby boys. It was a stormy night. It was as if the roof of the hospital was coming down. Somehow along the line, the babies were switched at birth. Gracie and her husband Kingston were thrilled with their newborn, whom they named Benjamin. Benjamin, with his dark hair and piercing blue eyes, was the light of their lives. Meanwhile, Evelyn and her husband Thomas named their son Daniel, a sweet boy with an infectious smile and dimples on both sides of his cheeks. As years went by, the Kingston family began to notice subtle differences between themselves and Benjamin. His personality clashed with theirs. He was more reserved, and his physical features seemed out of place. Despite these differences, they showered him with love and affection, never questioning the bond they believed was formed by blood. When Benjamin turned 10, Gracie found an old photograph of herself as a baby. She was struck by how different she looked from her son at the same age. She shoved the thought down. A lot of features the boy showed was very different to both her and her husband. Like he was left-handed, no one in their family was. He had blue eyes, which was strange. This unease fastened, and she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was wrong. All through her concerns, she didn't want to alarm her family. In the Thomases family, things were quite different. Daniel, a quiet and introspective child, often felt out of place among his boisterous, extroverted parents. Evelyn, though loving, couldn't help but feel a disconnection with her son. She brushed it off as her own, feeling guilty for not being a good mother as she believed Daniel needed. Gracie's suspicion reached a boiling point. She was too curious to stay quiet anymore. She got some strands of her husband's hair and went with Benjamin to the hospital in the guise of running a medical test for school records. Her worst fears was confirmed by the test. Benjamin was not their biological son. The revelation shattered her world. Consumed by anger and betrayal, she felt as if her whole life has been a lie. Determined to find the truth, Gracie went to the hospital records with the help of a hospital staff. It was tracked down to the Thomases family. The confrontation was explosive. Both mothers felt a mix of sorrow, anger and confusion. They agreed to have a DNA test for Daniel, which confirmed the switch. The boys were indeed exchanged at birth. The family decided to meet and explain the situation to their sons. Now 15 years old, Benjamin and Daniel were both stunned and struggled to comprehend the truth. They had grown up with the only family they had ever known, and the idea of switching lives was incomprehensible. Gracie, unable to cope with the situation, began to distance herself to Benjamin. Her initial anger turned into a simmering resentment. She blamed him for the years of deceit, projecting her pain onto the innocent boy. Benjamin, seeing his mother growing hostility, becoming increasingly withdrawn and rebellious. The Kingston household, once filled with warmth and laughter, became a battleground. Gracie's sharp words and cold demeanor chipped away at Benjamin's spirit. Kingston caught in the middle, tried to mediate, but was often powerless against his wife's relentless bitterness. The years passed, and the chasm between Gracie and Benjamin only grew wider. Benjamin, now an adult, left Quarry to escape the suffocating atmosphere at home. He persuaded a career in music, using his pain and anger as fuel for his art. His lyrics spoke of betrayal and loss, resonating with a generation seeking solace in his words. Meanwhile, Daniel, struggling with his own identity crisis, Evelyn, desperate to make up for lost time, smothered him with affection. But the damage was done. The switch at birth had left an indelible mark on both boys, their lives forever altered by a single night of chaos. Gracie, haunted by her own actions, fell into a deep depression. She sought therapy, trying to untangle the web of emotions that had consumed her. In time, she realized that her hatred for Benjamin is misplaced, a projection of her own guilt and sorrow. But it was too late. The damage was done, and her relationship with her son was irreparably broken. One summer, a decade after he left, Benjamin returned to Quarry for a concert. The town, proud of their hometown, hosted him well. They welcomed him with open arms. Gracie, now frail and aged by years of torment, attended the concert, hiding in the shadows of the crowd. As the star stood the stage, applauded by the crowd, he was pleased and happy. And then he spotted his mother. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the years of pain and hatred melted away. He dedicated a song to her, a song of forgiveness and understanding. The lyrics spoke of a love that had been buried beneath layers of anger and misunderstanding. Gracie's tears streamed down her face. She felt a weight lifted up her shoulder. In that moment, she realized that while they could never reclaim the lost years, they could start anew. She reached out to Benjamin after the concert, and they shared a tearful embrace, both finally ready to heal. The journey to forgiveness was long and arduous, but it marked the beginning of a new chapter for Gracie and Benjamin. They couldn't change the past, but they could learn to accept it and move forward. The lasting hatred that had once defined their relationship was replaced by a fragile but hopeful bond, built on a foundation of hard-earned forgiveness and understanding. That is the end of the story. The moral lesson from the story above is that unchecked anger and resentment can cause deep and lasting harm, not just to others, but to oneself. It highlights the importance of communication, understanding, and forgiveness in healing relationships. Additionally, it underlines the idea that while we cannot change the past, we can choose how we move forward and seek to rebuild and mend broken bonds. Ultimately, the story teaches that forgiveness and acceptance are crucial for personal growth and reconciliation. Wow, what a story! How better would it have ended? Please, I implore you to subscribe, share and like our videos. This is Whispering Tales. We have more in store for you. Stay tuned. Catch ya. Bye.